Hello, everybody. What is up? Welcome to Tech Support Live. I'm Angelo. I'm the Senior Interactive Media Specialist here at NETGEAR. Today we'll be running a show where we'll be able to help you guys out, everyone who's in the chat watching right now, for any questions you guys have for the next 2 hours. You have us from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, I'm Angelo, Senior Active Media Specialist here at NETGEAR. I manage the YouTube channel, the Nighthawk Gaming Twitch channel, and
hello, everybody.
I also run.
Welcome to Tech Support Live.
I also run
I'm Angelo.
pretty much
I'm the
anything
Senior
that I got
Interactive
going on
Media
social.
Specialist
I
here
might have my
NETGEAR.
hands on it.
Today we'll be running
So
a show
I'll kind of
we'll be able to help
pass
you
on the
guys
baton
out,
to
everyone
Alec
who's
to
in
introduce
the
himself.
chat watching right now.
Hello, I'm
For any
Alec.
questions you guys have
I'm
for
the
next
non-senior
hour,
interactive
12
media
p.m.
specialist here at NETGEAR.
Pacific time.
And I basically do everything from photography to graphic design here at NETGEAR. Right now I'm doing a lot of work on web. So if you are a frequenter of the NETGEAR store, you can see some work I've done on there. And I'm just an overall NETGEAR enthusiast, excited to answer some questions and interact with you guys.
Cool.
Yeah, Michael, I'll pass on the baton to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Michael. I'm technical marketing manager. I do a lot of the trade shows for NETGEAR, get to talk up a lot of our products, and get to play with most of the new tech that we have. Here to help along with everyone else.
Yeah, and I'm Darren. I'm a tech support specialist and community moderator. You'll find me answering questions on the NETGEAR community.
Awesome. And I wanted to shout out a few regulars here. We got Vanessa Kitty, first in the chat. What's up? Shady Joker 1. Marcial, I believe you come here before. And I think we got, a couple people new to the event. So, again, this is your time. As long as you guys are here in the chat, we'll be able to continue doing these shows for you. So, just as a reminder, we'll be here from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. And we actually do a few other events on the NETGEAR YouTube channel as well. So if you, this is our weekly Friday show, but we also have a weekly Tuesday show for our virtual event series. So I'll be kind of talking about that a little bit later. But I think we're ready for the first question we got from TT Poker. Perfect timing. Fios was installed today. I need to know the best practices for using the Fios G3100 router with my Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 mesh. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have an idea, but anyone here, a fellow guest, if you guys want to take a crack at it?
Well, probably the best thing to do if you're going to be using the Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 mesh with it is to log into the Verizon G3100 and turn off the Wi-Fi that's in there. That way you're not conflicting with the Wi-Fi that's coming off of your Nighthawk. Other than that, it should be a pretty straightforward connection, and you shouldn't have to fiddle with anything else.
I mean, maybe it just depends on how they want to set it up. If they want to use the router from Fios, or if they have to, then you would need to set the Wi-Fi mesh to AP mode. If not, if you can set the modem only in the Fios modem, then you'd be able to use the Wi-Fi mesh as your main router. But yeah, like Michael said, just disable the Fios Wi-Fi is one of the best things you could do there instead of having two conflicting Wi-Fis in the home.
Yeah, just to add to that, that's something that we just call double NAT. So you don't want two wireless, pretty much networks going on in your house at the same time, especially if the routers are right next to each other. They're going to start interfering with each other. They're just going to kind of talk over each other, and then you're just going to get pretty much weaker performance overall. So I would say give it a shot. Like, we're here to help out for the next 2 hours, and if you need any help kind of disabling that Wi-Fi, or if you're running into any other issues, we'll be able to help you out. Just throw your comments down below. Cool. So I guess we'll go to our next one with Zach. So he says, all right, please help me. I've struggled with these issues for several years. I have an XR 500 and before that an R7000. And then it stops there. So Zach, yeah, throw in your follow-up and we'd be happy to help you out. Yeah, unfortunately we actually don't have Ben Acevedo. He's our Nighthawk Gaming brand manager. He's typically here on these Friday shows to help out with any gaming questions, but I think we can still be able to help you out here. We got Alec filling in, so thanks again, Alec.
And we're all gamers.
We are all gamers. Nice. Yeah.
You know, you've got ample gaming knowledge here. I've got a pretty solid understanding of the gaming routers, so yeah, just ask your follow-up question, give us some details about what issues you're having, and I'm sure one of us can help you out.
Awesome. All right, so Zach, just again, we're happy to help. Just throw in your follow-up, and then we'll get back to you. But next up, we got Mitch. He's asking, how do I install Bitdefender on both my Orbi systems? He has 2 houses with 2 separate systems. So my first follow-up for that would actually be, which model Orbi are you using right now? And is it the same Orbi in both of those houses when you mentioned 2 separate systems? Just a follow-up to you guys. Armor, is that compatible with all Orbi models right now, or is there anything we should be kind of on the lookout for in terms of incompatibility?
Yeah, I don't believe that it's on all of them at this point.
Okay.
So you do want to make sure that the Orbi that you have supports armor. Also, if he's just talking about Bitdefender and he owns Bitdefender outside of Orbi, then that's normally installed on the local clients, as opposed to the Orbi running the armor, which is powered by Bitdefender.
Okay. So yeah, that's one thing that we also got to know from Mitch. Let us know which model you have, and then we'll be able to confirm on our end if armor is available. And then once we could get that confirmation, we'd be happy to guide you through the steps. Either way, it should be relatively simple in terms of opening the app and just activating armor through the Orbi app.
Yep.
Cool. So 2 follow-ups, or I'm asking for 2 follow-ups. So Zach, Mitch. Oh, actually, we did get a follow-up from Zach. So actually, let's go back down to you just really quick, just so you, just because we know you got your comment in first. Army off, you are next. But let's see here. So Zach is saying, I've been dealing with terrible lag and latency, and nothing I have done seems to make the difference. All right, I'm gonna list some of the symptoms because they are bizarre, and hopefully one. All right, another follow-up. I don't want to rush you on typing either.
I want to jump to. Sorry, it just caught my eye.
Yeah.
I want to answer it. We have a question from. Sorry if I butcher your name. From Georgiou. Will you continue to improve and add features to Douma OS? Yes, we do have a lot of plans for Douma OS, and we actually did a stream, I want to say about a month ago. It was one of our most popular streams we've ever done. We brought in Luke Barlow, who's the CEO of NetDouma, who helps us with that software. And so if you go on our channel, you can actually go see that. It's our most popular VOD, actually, and we talk all about it and do some little video previews of what's to come. So definitely go check that out.
We actually, I think we have our girl Christine. She'll be behind the line, kind of running the NETGEAR YouTube account in the chat. So I think she's like off in, how do you describe this? The control room, let's say. So Christine, if you're able to drop a link into the Douma OS 3.0 walkthrough, I do agree. I think that was one of our best live events that we've done in a while. So that'd be really helpful to get a little bit more information as to what's coming in for Douma OS 3.0. All right. So I did get one follow-up from Mitch. I know, Zach, we're still helping you out. We just want to make sure that we don't fall too behind on the comments. We don't want you guys waiting for like 20, 30 minutes because sometimes, that tends to happen. But we do appreciate your comments. All right, so for Mitch, follow-up from Mitch, he's trying to install armor on 2 RBR50s.
Yeah, so the RBR50 system should be armor compatible, so it should be as easy as going into the app and activating armor via the app. Michael or Darren, can you guys confirm that?
Yeah, I was double checking that, and yeah, they should be able to use the app to be able to install it just by selecting the security once you've logged into the app into the router.
Yeah, so go ahead and head over to the app, the Orbi app. You should be able to go in there and find I personally don't have an Orbi, so I can't tell you exactly where it is, but there should be somewhere on there, maybe under cybersecurity, or it might even be listed as Armor, and you can subscribe to the Armor service and get some cybersecurity features for your Orbi system.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there actually is a FAQ on that, on how to activate NETGEAR Armor on your Orbi router that walks you through the steps.
Yeah, actually, Christine, I'm actually going to float you a couple more links. There is one KB article that I think is going to be pretty helpful as to how to activate Armor through the Orbi app. Let me pull that link up for you, and then you should be able to follow those instructions there. And then again, if you have any issues whatsoever, we'll be able to continue helping you out on the show. But let me get over that article for you real quick.
Cool, and it looks like we actually got a follow-up from Zach about his XR router. He said that he's getting lag and latency, as well as the image quality of his videos are becoming blurry. And that it sounds weird, but when he raises and lowers the volume, it affects the lag, which is really an interesting situation to be in. I'm curious, Zach, if you could let us know in the chat, what modem do you have? Your modem could be, getting old. It could be, not quite specced high enough for the XR router that you have. The XR router should be completely, functional. So it's not that old of a product, so it shouldn't be conking out quite yet. So let us know. Oh, he actually already let us know. Connected to an i211ML Lutent ONT with Frontier. Fios as my provider. Yeah, so you can get a new modem possibly, or you could reach out to your provider and see if they have a newer model that they can send out to you. Either would be a good option.
And so, well, this is actually where Ben's expertise actually becomes very helpful. So, the thing with the XR500 especially is that there's a lot that I think that we could kind of diagnose this within Douma OS. And, I think that was kind of my first thought on this, was one, to check also anti-buffer bloat settings and any of the QoS settings that you have, and also what the dashboard is telling you when you start getting those, let's say that lag if you're gaming, or the sound issues. The sound issue is actually kind of unique. Actually, I haven't really heard of that yet, but when you see those issues, do you see anything spiking up in your network when you log into the Douma OS dashboard? So in that case, I would recommend kind of having another window on the side. Let's say you open up routerlogin.net, you open up Douma OS, and then you can see exactly what's going on in your network. If you see any of those spikes, so I'm kind of wondering if there's anything we could do here within Douma OS that could, I guess maybe work around the ISP a little bit, and then see if you could just kind of remedy it at home, just through the dashboard.
Yeah, and with the odd things that are actually happening to him, it almost doesn't sound like it is a control in the Douma OS that's affecting it, because especially with the volume and the sound sounding really weird, sound streams take very, very little bit rate, which means that unless he went into the Douma OS and turned the anti-buffer bloat up to 100%, it shouldn't affect that at all. It sounds like something else is going on in his system that's affecting pretty much everything across the board, both games, YouTube, and the sound. Because sound itself, the streams are so small, that's the last thing that should be affected when you're streaming.
Yeah.
And raising and lowering the volume, it itself shouldn't have any effect at all on the stream, because that's a local connection that you're doing, where you're bumping the volume up and down on your speaker, but that doesn't have anything to do with the stream that's coming off of the net itself, that you're actually affecting that stream.
Yeah. No, I do agree. Because then that actually gets me thinking, if it could possibly even be hardware related, where, I guess another follow-up question to you, Zach, is this replicable across all your systems? Let's say you're streaming a YouTube video on your phone versus maybe on a computer versus maybe a smart TV. Are you getting that same, I guess, issue on all three systems? So just trying to kind of figure out. Okay, so he says all devices are affected by these problems, and then and then also follow up a little bit before was they changed the ONT 2 times. Should I be changing the WAN settings? I've disabled QoS as a means of troubleshooting. It's not buffer bloat or any other devices eating bandwidth. Okay.
Yeah, it really sounds like what you said, Michael, that there's an issue with his whole system. And yeah, just to reiterate what I said earlier, I think that the most likely culprit is probably that modem. The XR500 is not that old of a product. It shouldn't be at a point in its life where it's dying. I would say it's probably your modem. You could also check the cables that you're using between your modem and your router, or your coax cable between your router or your modem and the wall. Either of those could be old, just depending on. These things do conk out after many years. That could be worth investigating. I don't know. What else do you think would be valuable to check into?
If the modem actually allows a direct connection from a PC, then I would say try connecting the PC directly to the modem. Reboot the modem, reboot the PC then. Once everything's back up, if you can get to the internet, try running some tests there, and that'll help you identify whether it's the modem or whether it's your router that's causing the problems. It does look like that modem that you have is a very old modem, so you might want to check and see whether they have a newer modem that they could swap it out with, and that might clear up your problems.
Yep. I do agree. So Zach, just to kind of reiterate, if you can just hardwire into that modem and then see if you could still receive those same symptoms, we'll be able to kind of differentiate if the problem is baked within the modem or within the router. So give it a shot. And then just another follow-up, he's asking, could this also be a faulty fiber optic SC APC cable?
Any of your cables, there's a chance that it could be bad. If the fiber is supplied by your ISP going into the modem, then if they've swapped that modem out before, I would expect that they would have also tested the system to make sure that that fiber optic cable is good and that they were receiving the proper signals from your ISP. But it's always possible that it could be a bad fiber, especially if the fiber is cracked at all, since fiber is basically sending light through. Any sort of damage to the fiber cable is going to affect the signal that's coming through.
Yeah. Lots of good points. Thank you, Michael. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. So Zach, give it a shot. I know we got a few more folks in the chat who would need some help. So again, try hardwiring through the modem and then see if you're able to receive that same issue. But I'm just gonna kind of quickly move up a little bit higher. So Army Oft, I know you were right after Zach and Mitch. So you have a few comments. I'm gonna read them out loud. So just bear with me here. So. All right, he's the one with the issue with 500 megabits per second. I think I do remember. Hardline Wi-Fi. So I get 900. Okay, I got 900. I just want to say thanks to all you guys for all the help, but the problem hasn't been solved yet. Is there any issue with having NAT open versus secure in the Orbi router? I have 2 Xboxes, and when set to open, seems to work well, but I'm hoping I'm not compromising security. But your tech support sent me a new router, which did not work, but that's okay. I kept the old one. I'm still waiting for a new update. Hopefully that helps. Christine is amazing. She helps me. Thank you so much. Shout out, Christine. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate this. Again, I was just kind of reading this for the first time. We really appreciate you guys coming into the chat, and I hope that you guys as well just have just as much fun kind of engaging and then, helping everyone out. So, again, we're here if you guys are here, and we're going to try to help you out as much as possible while we're live on stream. So we appreciate the kind words. So just kind of back up and actually, okay, here. I'm going to kind of keep scrolling down. Army Opt. I think I need to get a CM1000 that might help me, but that's too much right now. I've been having this issue for 7 months. Hopefully it gets resolved soon. 3.0, please help. So just kind of backtrack a little bit. I think this is a little bit more about how to get full 900 megabits per second on your Wi-Fi, and then also follow-up question is NAT open versus secure in the Orbi router. If you guys have any insight on that.
Yeah, the Xbox question's from a different person, which is Kevin, not Army.
Oh, Kevin. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, they got similar profile pictures actually. That's funny. All right. So Army off actually. Let's try to see what we could kind of help you out with here. From what I remember, you were receiving 500 megabits per second on your Wi-Fi when you should be getting 900. I want to make sure, you guys, I'm not misreading the question.
Yeah, actually, it looks like the opposite at the top. Army Off says gets 500 megabits per second hardline. Wi-Fi, I get 900. So it sounds like he's saying that his hardline connection is actually slower than his Wi-Fi connection.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay.
And it looks like he's been working with Christine on this issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've been working with them offline with this issue, and we're hoping we get Douma OS out for our XR700 soon. Maybe that might help them.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you, Army Off, actually. So, because I do remember you throwing your comments from the previous tech support live stream. So I would say we're going to continue helping you out on the side, kind of giving you some of that, I guess, special TLC. So if there's anything that you think that we could help you out here right now, we'd be more than happy to help. But then also, just want to, shout out a line, we opened one up for you with Christine, so we hope to get your issue resolved there as soon as possible. All right, but in the meantime, I know I kind of mixed in Kevin Hart with Army Off, but just to kind of close the loop on this one, so NAT open versus secure in the Orbi router, is there any difference, I guess, within the security between the two settings?
Not really. When you have open NAT, it basically just limits the router from being able to figure out where certain information that's coming through, where it's supposed to go, but it's not going to affect your security unless you've actually done a port forwarding to a local machine inside. Most of the time, people are more worried about DOS attacks where they're just trying to flood your connection. But between the two, no, there shouldn't be a problem with that. And often people do that when they've got gaming systems and they need open NAT to be able to game through it.
Awesome. So I guess just at the end of it, keeping it open NAT seems to work well. It's good to keep it. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, Kevin. Let us know if that helps. Again, if you got any more questions, continue to help you out there. You just scroll down a little bit just to make sure I don't get a little lost. Awesome. All right. So, Lisa, I believe you're next. All right. I want to make sure that I get this right. Is there a max number of satellites you could run off of the main router? My first question is which router, but usually when we're talking about satellites, I could drill it down to Orbi and Nighthawk Mesh, unless you guys think you have any other take on this.
Yeah, I think you're right on. Normally when you're talking about satellites, you're talking about Orbi. And the numbers have been changing recently on the number of satellites that they've been testing. And they've actually tested up to 6 satellites on a normal Orbi system and been able to get it to run smoothly. But the one big thing you want to make sure of is that you have no more than 2 hops from the main router. So if you have, say, from the router, you're going to one satellite, then another satellite farther beyond that. You don't want to add a 3rd satellite even farther away because then you're going to get a lot of latency. But yeah, they have been testing and been able to get up to 6 on the regular Orbi RBR50, and on the Pro, they've been able to test up to 7.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's a pretty crazy layout. Or I don't know, I'm trying to imagine what kind of house you have to where they did all that testing. But yeah, that is a good point. So I guess just to kind of, visualize that a little bit. You want to kind of have your router as kind of like, one node, and then you have 2 satellites kind of coming from there, then that's where you want to cut it off before it gets, there's too much latency there. So you would have kind of another node coming out with 2 more satellites, and then another node coming out with 2 more satellites, and then that's kind of how you would sprawl out from the main router, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep, you could, but it also depends on the layout of the house. For instance, if you had, say, a 3-story house and the router was on the 2nd floor, then you'd have, a couple of routers going up, a couple of routers going down. You may not, each one of them may be directly connected up to, or I should say satellites, and each of the satellites would be connected directly up to the router. It pretty much just depends on the layout of the house. But you just want to make sure the farthest satellite is no more than 2 hops away from the router.
And yeah, just to, I just scroll down a little bit. Lisa does say we're talking about Orbi. So yeah, we would recommend 6 satellites max for Orbi, and then 7 satellites for Orbi Pro. But cool. All right, I really hope that helped. I see that there's more questions starting to stack up. So again, we really appreciate it. We don't want to, sometimes we start doing a little bit of a, what I call hot fire at the very end. And, I want to make sure that you guys aren't waiting for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of keep going down. All right, so we got Thomas here. He has an RBS 50Y, an outdoor Orbi that will not go into extender mode. It is an early release that I received during a beta test. Did the initial RBS 50Y versions not have extender mode capability? Is he a unique situation?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Since it's a beta version, they usually have some limitations because they are just beta samples. I would assume that you could put the latest version of the firmware on there, and that's really what controls whether or not it's going to be going into extender mode. But because it's a beta sample, there's no way that we can really say, what functionality was actually in that one that you got.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure it's on the latest firmware if you can get into it and update it again to see if it kicks in that extender mode capability or not, because that was added later on down the line in a firmware release to most models.
Awesome. I'm wondering, when you're in the beta program, are you reaching out to anyone specifically on our team that could possibly help you out here? Just trying to imagine the beta program.
Well, that beta program is closed. Normally, they only run, 2-4 weeks, however long the beta for that product is, and then it closes down, and so there isn't any continued action after that. And the RBS 50Y has been out for a long time. But yeah, the one thing you can try, as Darren said, is download the latest firmware for it, and then log into it, flash it with the latest firmware, and see if you get the extender mode option, because it was added after the product was released.
Awesome. Yeah. So give it a shot, Thomas. And then also feel free again to, here, actually, I did get the follow-up. So he does say it is on the latest firmware when RBS 40V added extender mode. So when Orbi Voice, a special firmware had to be loaded on the beta versions. Was this the same case for the RBS 50Y?
Unfortunately, I didn't have any insights into that beta program, so I'm not sure.
I'm gonna ping someone and see if they have some more information. So I'll be a couple minutes. Maybe I can get an answer for that.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, dear. All right. So yeah, Thomas, just to kind of keep you updated, we'll keep you on the line for a little bit, and then once Darren, just feel free to kind of just jump in once you kind of get an update. But I'll kind of start continuing to go down the list. So let me just scroll back up here. Okay. Wow, I'm already getting lost at this point.
I think you're at Riverboat now.
Ooh, this always happens in every single stream. Just so I make sure I do not miss anyone. Okay. Okay. I do see a comment from, just make sure I got it, from Riverboat. It's been very good to me, speed test wise, running speed up to 400 download, and NETGEAR AC 1750 gives me about 525 speed. I I've had to provide an update to Phil Mack outside. All right. You guys see it from Riverboat?
Yeah.
All right.
Not
Help me along here.
I'm not quite sure what he's saying there.
Okay. I see the last one that says, can you go back to reset it to when you first bought it? He's hardwired cabled.
I mean, that would be a factory reset, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a factory reset.
Yeah.
And yes, you should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, the reset process is you take like a paper clip, and there's a little button on the back. You hold it for like 7 seconds, and it just start flashing. But there is a KB article for that kind of really clarifies the process for how you do that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, Riverboat, I see you starting to kind of drop some comments here. So I can see that you have a NETGEAR AC1750, and you're looking to either reset it or update it. Either way, if you do reset it, just to kind of drill that down, Alec, I know you mentioned it, there is a little reset button on the back of pretty much virtually all of the routers that we sell. So if you get a little paperclip, you could essentially just hold that down for a few seconds, and it's going to reset it back to factory settings. And then that should get you back up to the latest firmware and kind of bring you back up to date.
Yeah, but I normally recommend holding it in for about 10 to 15 seconds, because the cycle, I think, is about 10 on all of ours to reset. But you could usually tell when you watch the lights on it that as soon as the lights go out, and then usually one light will come back up, that's about the time that you can let go. But figure 10 to 15 seconds, and that should force it into the reset mode.
Awesome. Cool. And then, Christine, I did see you throw in an article in there. And then, so Riverboat, one recommendation, check out that article, see if those instructions help. Or two, just to kind of further clarify, just kind of drop down a comment in case you need anything else specific that we didn't address. Just so I know there was kind of like a lot there, but yeah, happy to help you out. We'll be here for another hour and a half, so we just hit our first 30-minute mark, so thank you guys for coming in. Usually I don't want to be more than 20 minutes behind, so I'm going to go back up again. All right, so we had Thomas Murphy, then Riverboat, and then, all right. So, Zach, I know you were kind of coming in from the beginning of the show. I think you did pull in an update here, kind of closer to the bottom here. So you're kind of having issues with the extra 500 right now. So just to kind of address your question, is IGMP proxying a setting that is relevant to gaming or fiber optic services? Cisco has an article regarding multicast traffic and mentions some games do utilize IGMP proxying /IP multicast. It's a tongue twister. You guys have any insight on that one?
Not off the top of my head. I am surprised about the games using multicast, though, because that is normally for local LANs and casting it out to all the other devices on your LAN.
Yeah.
I'd have to read their article to get a better idea of what they were talking about.
Yeah, no worries. All right. My first kind of bet is, how would you say no? I actually wouldn't really, like, if I was gaming, I don't know. I'm a gamer. I never really think about IGMP proxying and IP multicast. So that's kind of my first, kind of, I guess, answer off the top of my head. But the thing is that you're having, I think, a unique set of issues here. So I would say if you see some kind of evidence that supporting that, messing with the setting could help, I would say give it a shot. And, the worst thing you can do is just kind of turn it back off. So, yeah, I mean, give it a shot. We'll be here to help you out throughout the show. All right. But Michael, I'm kind of throw you in case you find any more information. Just let us know and feel free to jump back in. Yeah, but no worries.
Yep, I'm looking into it now.
All right. Let me scroll back up, heading back down again. All All right. I think the next one I do have is from Dan Tuma, because I believe we went from Zach to Army off to Riverboat. So, Dan, thank you again for coming back to the show. I know you are a regular back here, so happy to address what you got. So, he's asking if anyone's working the NETGEAR customer service chat. He's tried a number to start a chat. So, just kind of coming from me, I think this is going more towards the traditional support lines. We're kind of a little bit of separate. We're under kind of community support. So if you want to go to our traditional support team, we actually have some instructions in the YouTube description down below. So feel free to check that out if you actually do want to. I believe you should have a couple options to chat with an agent through text or to give us a call. So check out those instructions below. But if there's anything specifically you want us to answer on the show, you got us right now. Cool. I think that's all I really got for Dan. Yeah, get in touch with us. We're happy to get on the line with you. Okay.
And it looked like Thomas answered Mitch's question about putting armor on both of his RBR50s.
Oh, wow.
It looks like Mitch's second RBR50 was in AP mode.
Oh, wow.
And that was what was causing the problem.
There we go. Awesome. Well, we love to see it, guys.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch. Yes. Especially as we do these, again, I want to, shout out our regulars and, shout out all you guys that are, supporting each other in the chat, because we're here to provide support, but we love seeing it from you guys because, I think you guys also, you're all of our customers. You guys have experience with products, and then, if there's something that you kind of see, and then maybe you could jump in. Like, we always love and appreciate and see that. So, we'll acknowledge you guys and thank you.
Yep. And I should have said thank you to Thomas. He was replying to Mitch. Got to get the names right.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. There's so many names, right? It's
I know.
I'm getting lost myself, but again, like it's really awesome to see this the chat popping off. All right, I think the next one I see here is from Marlon Towns. Please, if I skipped you, please feel free to yell at me in the chat because I could take it. But I want to make sure that I can address everyone. So just to kind of read this off, he has the Fios gig router and a Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 mesh system. I believe Fios does not allow bridging the router, but the speed is good and the coverage is good. The problem is that the PC keeps dropping. I use a VPN for work and it goes down consistently. I moved the satellite farther away, thinking it was going back and forth between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, and I put the PC on the 5 and it would not connect. So, okay, we could kind of diagnose it down to the PC, but I'll try to get kind of thoughts on my own. But Darren, Michael, Alec, you guys think of anything?
Well, one of the first things I would ask is about him putting the PC on 5 and it wouldn't connect. Is Marlon saying that the VPN wouldn't connect when he was connected to the 5 gigahertz, or that the PC wouldn't connect to the 5 gigahertz at all? Because there shouldn't be any reason why his PC shouldn't be able to connect to the 5 gigahertz on the router, and that sounds like a different issue than just it dropping out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, Marlon, yeah, we would definitely want to make sure is when you put the PC on the 5 and it wouldn't connect, is it not connecting at all, or is it still just dropping out? And then also my kind of follow-up would be, are you noticing any performance difference between when you're connected to the VPN versus when you're not connected to the VPN? Just because that's something you noted a little bit earlier.
Right, and are you having the dropouts whether you're using VPN or not?
Mm-hmm.
So is it specific to the VPN connection, or just any connection is getting dropouts randomly?
Yeah. And then just to also kind of address the top part, so he mentioned he has a Fios gig router and the Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 mesh system. So you mentioned Fios does not allow bridging the router, but you do get good speeds. But I just kind of working with an ISP router before. That's what I have running right now. I have AT&T Fiber running into an RX 200, and I believe some of the restrictions are a little bit limited. So all I was able to do was disable the Wi-Fi. I actually don't have it set to bridge mode as far as I know. Thanks. But I'm wondering if anything between his FiOS gig router and Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 mesh, if there's anything we could do there to kind of even optimize the setup to, hopefully prevent any more of these dropouts from happening. Would you guys recommend anything there?
I mean, if he can't disable the router on the ISP modem, he probably needs to set his Nighthawk to AP mode and just use the Wi-Fi and Ethernet connections for his home. I'm in the same boat because I have a FiOS connection, and you can't disable the router functions on the modem from the ISP.
That's a good point. All right. So to kind of just, okay, actually we did get one more follow-up. So the PC wouldn't connect at all, and there's no performance difference between the VPN and not on the VPN. PC
Yeah, not being able to connect at all on the 5 gigahertz. Check some other clients to see if any of them will connect up to the 5. And it's not just the PC. If nothing can connect up to your 5 gigahertz, then there's definitely a problem, there that needs to be addressed. And is it just that it's not recognizing the password, or if you might want to actually try factory resetting your router and resetting it back up if nothing will connect up to it. But yeah, narrowing down whether it's all the way across the board that nothing's going to work with it, or it's just that PC would be helpful.
Yeah, that's kind of like the first issue would be there. It's really interesting to see that the PC wouldn't connect at all. So I would actually try to remedy that first. Sure, if Riverboat, you threw in a comment, needs a modem internet to run. It does need modem. Yeah, it does need a modem. So,
Yep.
It will okay, so it will connect when in auto. I guess when in auto, does that mean smart connect? When 2.4 and 5 gigahertz are under one Wi-Fi name.
If both of them are under the same Wi-Fi name and he's got it set to auto, then you don't really know whether it's actually the 2.4 or 5 gigahertz that you're connecting to. And it's probably dropping back to the 2.4. Yeah. But having them separated, then you can test, and it sounds like that's what Marlon did when he tried putting the PC on 5 and it wouldn't connect. So there's something going on with trying to use that 5 gigahertz band. Is it password problem? Is it nothing can connect up to the 5 gigahertz? Which would make me wonder whether the 5 gigahertz is even working on that router.
Yeah. So, that is, I think, something really good to note. We want to make sure that you are able to access the 5 gigahertz network because I think that's really important, especially when you're on a mesh system like this. So, yeah, I mean, I think we mentioned a little bit earlier, but usually doing a factory reset and then just setting it back up with the same Wi-Fi name and password, all your client devices will be able to automatically reconnect, but hopefully you'll be able to see an improvement from your PC. And then when you factory reset, it's also going to automatically boot you into the latest firmware. So that's kind of my first remedy to trying to get you back onto that 5 gigahertz network. But if that doesn't work, then, I don't want to say it, but hopefully it's not a hardware issue or anything that's coming from the 5 gigahertz intended router side.
Yep. Yeah. And also with the clients, if you make the SSID names the same as what they were after you do the factory reset, you might need to reboot the clients for them to connect back in. They might not automatically connect in once you reset up the router. But that just means powering the clients off, powering them back on, and then they should connect right in.
Yep. All right. I know we're we're going through this one. Thomas, thank you for your tip as well. So Marlon says when checking with the app, it says devices are connecting to both. Yeah, I would just say I know it sounds kind of it should only maybe take you like probably a few minutes to reset it. I know the app may mention that it's connecting, but I think from the client side, that's the most important part. You know, we want to make sure that, you know, your client device is actually able to receive the Wi-Fi despite the app. So, yeah, I mean, I would just kind of try out the factory reset and see if that helps you. All right. But let us know. You know, I also just want to make sure that we do hit all these comments. You know, this is the time where I have to scroll back up and then kind of guess to make sure I remember who is next. But Marlon, we have you on the line for again until 2 p.m. Pacific time. So please feel free to keep throwing your updates, and we'll continue to help you out there. And if we continue to, you know, if we really can't figure it out today on the show, we will reach out to you with another email that we have on the side where we could help you out one-on-one. But all right, after Marlon, I believe, let's see who's next. It is Mohammed. All right, my internet speed is 20 megabits per second. Nice. And my mobile battery drains so fast when I'm connected to the 5 gigahertz network. Will a Wi-Fi 6 router from NETGEAR be the best choice to buy and solve this problem? And just to add another question, is Wi-Fi 6 technology good for live streaming and gaming applications? And he's watching from Bangladesh, so wow, greetings. We're across the world right now. Cool. So I think I kind of have an answer of my own, but I want to let you guys see if you know, you had any advice first onto his battery issue and live streaming and gaming.
For battery, because I know that's a big sell for Wi-Fi 6. You know, in so many cases, you know, like in Apple keynotes, they mention like Wi-Fi 6 helps with battery and whatnot. It's gonna help with your battery if your device is a Wi-Fi 6 device. So if you have like an iPhone 11 and an RAX 40, you have two AX devices, and so that's gonna, you know, that's gonna help with battery. If you're using, for example, a 2015 MacBook that doesn't have Wi-Fi 6, you're not going to see that benefit. But a general benefit with Wi-Fi 6, regardless of whether your client devices are Wi-Fi 6, is going to be heftier bands. So you're going to be able to connect more devices to your router without bogging down your connection overall, which makes it good for stuff like gaming and streaming, because those obviously compete for a lot of bandwidth. You're going to have kind of stronger bandwidth. So you're going to be able to run those kind of activities consecutively more smoothly.
Yeah.
Yep, good answer.
Yeah, I mean, really, I was just about to say the same exact thing. Yeah, like Wi-Fi 6 right off the bat is meant to help with one battery, because oh man, you guys got to remind me on exactly what goes on within the technology and how it actually works. But you will be able to it's able to optimize your device, your client devices, I think energy usage in terms of connecting to the Wi-Fi. So that's going to help out with the battery, but then also Wi-Fi 6 is really mainly out to help out with capacity. So especially for high bandwidth applications like live streaming and gaming, yeah, you'll be good to go. So I know 20 megabits per second still isn't, you know, the craziest speeds to begin with in the first place, but especially if you have a lot of devices connected to your house, you know, I think you're really going to be able to see a difference with Wi-Fi 6.
Yep. Yeah, and as far as the battery, that's one of the reasons why the client needs to be a Wi-Fi 6 client to get the benefits of the battery savings. Is they have rewritten the way that the client talks to the Wi-Fi 6 router so that it doesn't have to keep pinging the router as often, and that helps extend the battery life a lot more. Plus, the way Wi-Fi 6 talks back and forth, it cuts pieces down into smaller chunks. So overall, the battery life should go up substantially if you have a Wi-Fi 6 client.
Awesome. So yeah, you know, just to reiterate, yeah, make sure you are on a Wi-Fi 6 client. You know, so things like an iPhone 11, the new Samsung Galaxies, and I believe actually more. I think laptops are starting to roll out with the Wi-Fi 6 chip inside. So yeah, in order to you know, really see the benefit, you know, start kind of rolling your devices into things that are Wi-Fi 6 compatible, and then you'll start to be able to see more of that difference as these standards roll out.
Pretty much any new smart device coming out, beyond 2020, it's probably going to be Wi-Fi 6 compatible. I mean, it's really, really settling in as the new standard. So it's a good move to preemptively buy a Wi-Fi 6 router, knowing that these devices are going to be coming out. I know I personally don't have a Wi-Fi 6 router, and I'm really looking to buy one pretty soon. So good. Need an upgrade.
Yeah. Well, luckily we got a lot of cool things coming out. I can't tell you what, but you know what? We're working on a lot of things. So Mohammed, if you're... Oh, go ahead, Alec.
I said you'll see soon. There's some new stuff coming out.
Oh yeah. So stay tuned. But if you're looking for any recommendations on which Wi-Fi 6 router to buy, and this goes along for everyone else in the chat too, we'd love to help you out there, kind of understand kind of your situation that you have at home, and then recommend the best product for you. So let's keep going. All right, so speaking of Wi-Fi 6, we got one from Lex. Hey guys, what can I do to reduce lag on his RAX35 router? Just want to double check this actually.
That was 35. I didn't even know we had an RX 35.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yep.
Oh, that's new.
Yep, we actually do.
Is this new news to all of us or what?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things.
At least that's what it looks like. Yep.
There's a lot of things you could do. I mean, you could try hardwiring to your client device. So if you're using an Xbox or a PC, it's worth hardwiring. Your modem could be outdated. That's another common one. Something to keep in mind with home networking is that there's multiple components, and it's really easy to bottleneck any of them. So let us know what your modem is.
Yep. Yeah, and your recommendation about hardwiring, if possible, is probably the best and quickest solution, because when you're hardwired, you've reduced any sort of latency that Wi-Fi has. So that should give you the fastest connection. And then if you're still seeing lag, if you're talking about gaming, it could be the particular server that you're attached to, your gaming server. So you may need to try to attach to something that's closer. There's a lot of other things that can affect the lag once you've removed Wi-Fi as being one of the reasons.
Yep, totally agree. And just to kind of add a little bit more insight here, so I scroll down a little bit, and it seems like he's playing Rainbow Six Siege a lot, and that's where the lag is coming from. We try to see if there's anything else, but it does seem to be kind of on a gaming specific platform. So yeah, I do agree. Hardwire your computer if you can, and then see what that performance difference is. Maybe even run a couple speed tests, and you can kind of determine, all right, hey, maybe I do have to be hardwired, or maybe you gotta figure out something with the placement of your computer. But that's where I would check it out first. Check out those hardwired speeds. Cool. Unless there's anything else on that, I could keep on going down. I know we're only 20 minutes behind, so I want to.
We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing all right, But of course, we don't want to keep you guys waiting. So, Lex, please feel free to continue providing updates. I do see you providing some help actually to Mohammed as well. So again, shout out and kudos to you guys helping us out. You guys are helping us out on our very own show. We appreciate that. So thank you. All right. I think we're gonna go back actually to Mohammed. So he's asking actually. Now we're getting down to the router. This is where I could really help. Will an REX40 Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 router be a wise decision to buy and solve my slow internet? So again, I think something that we're stressing out here with Wi-Fi 6 is really those big benefits are going to be to capacity, to relieve some of those congestion. Like let's say you have a lot of devices connected to your network that might be contributing to slowdown, just because you don't want to have like 200 cars on a 2-lane highway. You want to be able to just widen up that highway, get like those get a fast lane for all your Wi-Fi 6 devices, and then that's kind of how you could visualize the difference between what you have now versus moving over to Wi-Fi 6. But just kind of off the back of my head, like if that's within your budget, I think that is a good investment for you. I would just say right off the bat, I don't think you really need something that's more beastly than that, just because you do have 20 megabits per second as your the download speed you're getting from your ISP or your public IP. But I think one thing to consider would be maybe the amount of space that you want with it, like let's say the square footage of your home, or also the walls that you have going on in your house, just because everyone's living situation is a little bit different. We want to make sure that we're able to provide the best coverage we can with that product. Anything else from you guys?
I mean,
I think you hit it.
I already pitched Wi-Fi 6, but I'll pitch it again. It's the move. You should be, if you're getting a new router in 2020, you need to get a Wi-Fi 6 router. So many devices are moving to it. There's a lot of benefits, battery, bandwidth, all of it. Even if you're getting kind of an entry-level Wi-Fi 6 router like the RX40, you're still better off doing that than getting a high-end Wi-Fi 5 router, in my personal opinion, because as the technology world continues to move forward, you're going to get better and better use out of it. So yeah, I think RX40 is a great router. I would suggest it totally.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the consensus here is that I think you already got a good choice, right off the bat. So give it a shot. But if you're looking at anything else, if you want to kind of compare, like let's say you're looking for a mesh system versus kind of like just having one router as a solution, we better help you out there. But I think you're kind of good to go. So feel free to keep on dropping us a line. We'll be going on for just about another hour. We're going through that halfway point. Awesome. So all right, I think I missed one. Let me see here. And I think when I missed one, I just wanted to shout out Vanessa Kitty. She says the show is great. Thank you for the help. We appreciate you, Vanessa. Thank you for coming in. Not only on these shows, but we're at that halfway point. I'm going to pitch our Tuesday shows, actually. This is something we just started just a couple weeks ago. We're doing something we call the virtual event series, where we essentially are bringing the trade show to you. So, as y'all know, we're all working from home. Unfortunately, we're not able to attend these events that we usually go to every year. So instead, what we're doing is bringing that, something that's a little bit more exclusive and experience. You usually got to go to a trade show or convention to see us at the booth, see a live demo, and get your questions answered. Instead, we're going to do that open to everyone here. Everyone to open that's in the chat, everyone who is following us on our social channels. You are invited to our virtual event series, and our next one is going to be coming up on Air Bridge, which is a point-to-point system that essentially has a virtual wire between two, like a router and a satellite, essentially. It's kind of like you can compare them to kind of our traditional access points, but we got more content coming for you soon, and I'll be hosting those. So if you like me, come in on Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll be doing these virtual event series for the next Tuesdays. So just wanted to shout that out. So thank you.
And you forgot one thing when you were talking about the air bridge, is that's designed to go from one point to a mile away on another point. It's to far disconnected buildings that our normal Wi-Fi would not be able to stretch over.
Oh yeah, it's thank you, Michael. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it's also something really cool. If you've been following us actually since even the beginning of the summer, Doug, he is our product manager for that product, and then we're gonna bring in Brett. He's our community manager for SMB, and then we'll be taking a deep dive into exactly how that technology works and the best use cases, and essentially, some of these success stories that we've been working with some of our clients in the past on how this technology works. So really exciting stuff. So thank you, Michael. It's I'm really excited. Yep. All right. So
and I also forgot to shout out at the midway point to plug the like and subscribe.
Yes.
Classic YouTube plug. Yep. So guys, if you're watching the show and you're enjoying it and we're helping you out, please drop a like. It helps us kind of bump the show in the YouTube algorithm and helps more people find the VOD after the show is over. So if you want us to keep doing it and we're helping you out, or you're just enjoying the watching experience, please like the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you,
And you
Alan.
forgot the most important thing. It makes our bosses like us even more.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, give us those kudos. Hey, we'll help you out. I see you guys helping each other out in the chat. You know, we're all out here to just kind of build a happy community, a positive community, where, you know, we're all really just kind of out to look out for each other. Just make sure that everyone has, you know, systems and, you know, their internet situation wherever you live, whether it is here in the United States or all the way across the world, that everyone's having a good experience. So, thank you. Yes, like and subscribe. All right, back to the show. You guys ready? All right, so I'm going down past Muhammad and Lex. Gabriel, hey, I see you. Also another regular. So what's up? We'll give you a little bit of a special attention if we you know, we recognize you guys. It's all good stuff. All right, I think we're kind of ready to go back to Zach. This is kind of where I see next question, unless you think I missed something. But I'm going to go ahead and read it out. So Zach Walker, you're next. Can DOS/port scan protection cause lag or packet loss? When I go to play something, be it Call of Duty or PUBG mobile, I get a fair amount of DOS attacks on the router logs, and IPs are from game servers. Yeah. So just a reminder, this is on, I believe, the XR500, and he's kind of running into some crazy lag, latency, and sound issues. You guys have
well, normally the DOS port scan protection isn't going to be causing lag or packet loss, because it's fairly lightweight and it's just checking the incoming packets, seeing where they're coming from, and allowing it to stop things that are constantly coming from the same IP address. Basically, denial of service attacks, where someone just keeps pinging your router. Since Zach mentions that he sees a fair amount of DOS attacks in the router logs, one question I would have is, when you say a fair amount, are we talking pages of DOS attacks, or are we talking, you know, 1, 2, or 3 every minute? In which case, the DOS attack isn't going to be causing any lag there. If someone is actually trying a DOS attack, though, and just hammering away at your router, that could possibly cause some lag on your side, because the router is spending more time denying these constant hits. But normally, no. Having that on is not something that should actually inject more lag into your connection. And I would say the DOS attacks would be the thing that's actually causing the lag if you're getting a lot of them. But we're talking hundreds or more, you know, every minute or every second, not 5 or 6 in a minute. That's nothing to the router.
Yeah. So do you think the setting, I mean, DOS/port scan protection,
Yep.
To have that on would help him out here?
Well, it is automatically on.
Yeah. Okay.
On the routers. Yeah, and it's something you really don't want to turn off, because if you turn that off, then the router is not going to be able to stop DOS attacks or the ping of death, basically you getting hammered. And so if someone is trying to actually do a DOS attack on your router, it's just basically going to lock up your internet connection, and you're not going to be able to do anything. So you want to leave that on.
Okay. Yeah, so I do agree. I wouldn't recommend turning that off, so you open yourself up to those attacks. And he did throw in a follow-up, so I think we're talking about the logs here. He says 10, maybe.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
I see those on my router all the time, and that's just random, people scanning IP addresses to see if anything replies back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. But, I think it's really interesting to actually understand all the activity that's going on with your networks, and, also making sure that stuff is secured down. I think especially within, we got a lot of people working from home. You don't want to leave yourself open to these kinds of things where, your security could be compromised. So, especially when we talk about DOS attacks, keep that setting on. That's what we're saying.
Yep.
All right. So Zach, I think you're still trying to kind of diagnose which setting to kind of fiddle around with. So feel free to kind of keep dropping us a line, and then you'll get our advice. When we're able to get to you. So thank you again for dropping your follow up. All right. Please tell me if I'm missing something, because I I got to scroll up and down, but I'm doing my best here. I'm gonna go ahead. Under Zach was Marcial. He's got a suggestion for us, so thank you. Great channel. For those of us who cannot see the lights on your products, perhaps integrate voice or sound prompts to indicate what each light conveys during setup. No, that is actually that's a really great suggestion. We did see a comment come in from Christine. Just to kind of reiterate, yes, we on our NETGEAR community, we have essentially a forum where we could hear all your ideas. If you have an idea or suggestion for us, you can drop it in. There's a link below to community.netgear.com, and that's our idea exchange forum. And I believe, unless anything has changed, you're able to submit your idea, and if it gets enough votes or enough kudos, it's going to float up directly to our community team and our product team, and then they look at them one by one. I've been in those meetings, and it's pretty cool stuff. So we're really listening to you guys, and if you add it there, we'll be able to factor that in for our next product decision. So thank you for that suggestion. It's good stuff. All right. I think our next one is from Ricky B. All right. He has an R7960p Wi-Fi router. Okay. So he's on a certain firmware version with a lot of numbers. I am having a problem with the DNS dropping out, so I lose access to the internet. My experience is new. Okay. Well, no worries. I think we might be able to help you out here. So thank you for providing all that information. I think that's really helpful. So DNS dropouts. Do you guys have any ideas here? I'm going to try to sort out mine.
Well, yeah, the first thing is it's probably not a DNS dropout because all DNS is it's a naming translation between the URL name that you're using and the actual IP address of the internet site you're trying to go to. For instance, like google.com actually has an IP address associated to that. And that's what DNS does, is it translates it. When you type in google.com, it translates it over to the IP address where Google is at, and that's how you actually connect to it. And so if he's getting dropouts, it's probably not the DNS translation that's causing the problem. He's probably just getting internet access loss. It has nothing to do with DNS name translation. If he wanted to find out whether it actually was a DNS issue, and this might be a little too technical for you, but you can give it a try, or you can, if you want, is when your internet access is working properly, open up a browser or open up a text window to be able to type in ping space and then google.com, for instance. That's a good one. What that's going to do is that's going to translate that over into its actual IP address. Then when you have this problem, go back into the command prompt window again and type ping space and that IP address that you were given. And if it actually comes back and says, yeah, it's able to ping that that site, but when you try to ping google.com with the name, it doesn't work, then you know it's a DNS issue. Otherwise, it's something else. And my guess is it's something else, because normally DNS is not the problem. If it either works or it doesn't work. It doesn't go intermittently, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So if you could add a little bit more info when you say a DNS dropping out, that could help us to narrow down what might be causing your problem if your router is actually losing your internet connection.
Oh, awesome. Hey, really good stuff, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to also just kind of chat out. He did have a follow-up, and then this is also only what happens when any device that is connected to the router via Wi-Fi. So I think you'll probably get the same advice here, but just to make sure that we get all your comments here. So yeah, give it a shot. I mean, that's a few different steps, but hopefully you're able to kind of follow along. So Ricky, yeah, keep on troubleshooting, and if there's anything that you see that you could update us with, we'll be able to continue helping you out. You got us here for the next 50 minutes.
Yeah, and if it's only happening to devices that are connected to the router via Wi-Fi, then it definitely isn't a DNS issue that's going on. That means that something's happening with his Wi-Fi connection dropping out. Double check to make sure that your wired device still works at the time that your wireless isn't. And if it is still working, then it has to do with the Wi-Fi in your router and the problem with that, and not actually your internet connection.
That's good stuff. Yeah, so he does say when when you do the Windows troubleshooting, you know, within this within the OS, that's what comes as the problem. But yeah, I do agree. I think well, with Michael that it doesn't seem like a DNS issue. It seems like kind of more of a dropout Wi-Fi issue that I think we could pinpoint on the side outside of DNS.
Yeah, and the Windows troubleshooting is very, very generic. When it comes back with the reason, you know, what it thinks the reason why you no longer have a connection, it's not 100% accurate. It really just comes down to it saying, yeah, there's a connection issue here. We're going to try to resolve it by resetting your connection. So I take that with a grain of salt with Windows saying that it's definitely a DNS issue. That's just a generic reply back from the Windows troubleshooting.
All right. And when he says he's on wired, it does work.
Yep. Then yeah, that means that there's a problem specifically with the wireless to his router, his wireless connections, not the actual DNS, because the DNS is going to exactly the same place whether you're wired or wireless.
Okay. Cool. But thank you, Michael. That was a really good in-depth answer. I don't know if we could kind of recap those steps just to kind of just make sure that he exactly knows what to troubleshoot and kind of how to, you know, get his wireless working back again.
Yeah. Well, with the additional information that we got, the previous steps he doesn't need to do because we know that his DNS is still working fine. Mm-hmm. So now it comes down to what's happening to the wireless from his router to his client device. And a couple of things. First steps would be when his laptop loses connection. Are there any other wireless devices that he can test to see if their connections are still working? Say, for instance, his phone. And make sure that they're both connected to the same band. If the laptop's on 2.4, make sure the phone's connected on 2.4 as well. And double check to see whether or not the other device is still connected. If it's still connected and it's still working, then we narrowed it down to a problem on the laptop and not a problem with the router. If both the phone and the laptop lose connection at the same time, then it's a problem over on the router's wireless side, and have to start troubleshooting that portion of the problem. If it's just on the laptop side, then what I would recommend first is try downloading, or actually, you can go into the device manager on your laptop. You can tell it to uninstall the wireless driver for your wireless card, and then tell it to reinstall, and it should have a copy on your laptop, and it'll automatically reinstall it in case something's happened with the driver. If there's something wrong with the network card itself on the laptop that's having some flaky problems, then that's another issue. But narrowing down exactly where the problem is the router or is the laptop wireless that's causing the problem is the next best step, and then you can go from there.
Okay. So yeah, I think being able to diagnose the client, good first step. He does say that all devices do lose connection. I don't know if there's anything similar that you could recommend outside of that.
Yeah, if all devices are losing connection, then that is a wireless problem on your router. If you want to try to address the DNS issue, if there is something flaky going on with the DNS server that you're talking to, though it shouldn't be because your wired devices are working fine, what you can do is you can actually go into the admin screens for your internet connection, and you can hard code in a different DNS server than the one that it's using. And the one I usually recommend is 8 8.8.8.8. So basically 4 8s with periods in between, basically 1 8 in each one of the windows, and that'll redirect it to a different DNS server. I'm betting that that's not going to fix the problem, but it won't hurt, because pointing to a different DNS server just means that that DNS server is the one that's now doing that name translation that I mentioned earlier. For the wireless itself, if your wireless signal is just completely going out, everything loses connection. First step would be try rebooting your router and see if the wireless connection comes back to everything. If it does, then we know it's a problem with the router. The next step you can try is try downloading the latest firmware on the router and reflashing the firmware on the router to make sure there isn't some sort of corruption going on there. Hopefully it's not just the router's wireless is functionally got a problem, and that's causing the disconnects. So that would be the next step that you can try. But it definitely, from the information you gave, it's a problem with the wireless signal coming out of the router as to why everything is dropping out. Change the DNS address that it's going to, just so you can eliminate any possibility that something strange is going on there. And then reflashing the firmware would be the next step.
Good stuff. Yeah, Ricky, you got a couple things to do there. Where if you want to kind of still fiddle around, if you want to experiment with the DNS server, yeah, and also shout out MDog, another regular. Thank you for your shout out. Google DNS for the win. So try that out if you really want to go further down that rabbit hole of kind of fiddling with the DNS settings. But I do agree. I think if it's just a dropout across everything, yeah, definitely try rebooting, resetting, reflashing. That's kind of pretty standard, I guess, for us to kind of get you back on track. Cool. One last thing, the latest firmware is a beta. All right. Would you recommend to get off the beta, or do you recommend to stay?
If he's having problems with the beta, I would recommend getting off the beta and going back to the last released version.
Yeah, I believe that beta was just, it's there to fix an issue where that router model wasn't able to update to the latest firmware. It's some bug that happened, and it's just a small fix.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Yeah. I see your next comment. You understood all that. Thank you, and also thank you, Darren Michael. I think we were able to lay it down relatively simply. So yeah, try it out. Try to give it another shot, and then let us know how it goes. You got us for another 40 minutes. All right, I want to also go back up again just to make sure that we're not too far behind. I wanted to there's one that I saw from DJ Markison. He says Cat 7 ? Cat 7? You tell me.
I'm guessing, is it worth having Cat 7?
Yeah. What do you say to that?
And it depends. If you're just looking at, wiring up your your PC to your switch, that sort of thing, Cat 7 is definitely an overkill. But if you have a new house and you're running new wiring in the house, certainly can't hurt to put Cat 7 in there, because you're future-proofing it for later.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome stuff. Yeah. If you have any more questions, DJ Markison, please drop it. I think we interpret it as best we can, but if there's something specific you're looking for about Cat 7, we'd be happy to answer that. All right, just to go down a little bit farther. All right. Oh wait, actually, we did get a follow-up from DJ Markison. You'd mentioned a direct. Oh, okay. I think this was in kind of following up from I think one of our last, I guess, questions we answered. So, yeah, Cat 7 direct connection. Yeah. And he's getting fiber soon. And also, Ricky, he says thanks for the help. So, yeah, I mean, we don't wrap it up yet if you're still having issues with us, but again, happy to help you out as much as we can. All right, I want to go to Keith. So he's asking about the availability for the Nighthawk AX8 Wi-Fi 6 modem router? That's a very popular question that we've had. My take on this is that we also had another live event. I know I don't want to kind of keep throwing you around to another place here, but if you want the most in-depth kind of coverage that we've done on the CAX80, we actually just did a live event. I believe it was late last month. We've done these a lot, and I'm starting to lose track of them at this point. But Christine, if she's still on the line, we could drop you a link to that live event. So that was an event we did, I think, a couple of weeks ago. We had our product manager, Max, on the show, and we really went in depth on DOCSIS 3.1, Wi-Fi 6, and a deep dive into the product that so many people are asking us about. And I think he teased a little bit of that availability at the end of the show. So we could drop you a link, and then I would say please check it out, and then we hope you enjoy it. All right. I think I'm gonna go back a little bit. Actually, wait. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I almost thought we caught up, but there is one from Jesslyn. She says, "Hello, my Wi-Fi acts up when I game, but I don't consider myself a big gamer. When is it worth to get a gaming router instead of a regular high-performance router?" What do you guys think?
Whenever you want something that looks really cool on the shelf.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's not a big reason to get one of the pro gaming routers unless you actually are looking at trying to enhance your gaming experience, or you want to try out a completely different interface than what you would normally see on our other routers. As far as performance from CPU and memory standpoint, the high-end routers and the high-end pro gaming routers are going to be very similar. They're using the same technologies, Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6. So it really just comes down to what your needs are. And if you're not worried about gaming, especially if you're not worried about first-person shooter type games, then getting a non-gaming router might be the direction for you. It just is up to personal taste if you're not a gamer.
Yep, totally agree. And I would just say, when we're talking about gaming routers, I guess when I answer this question, I'm going to talk specifically about the Nighthawk gaming routers. So the really big benefit to those to Nighthawk gaming routers is Douma OS. I think it really kind of depends up to you if you're kind of more of a tinkerer, or you're more of like a set and forget it kind of person. I think everyone's different. But I think you'll benefit a lot from a gaming router if you're willing to go into the settings. There's a lot that you could really prioritize there, and that's what really makes it so powerful. Let's say with quality of service, what quality of service will do is it'll let you prioritize all the devices that are on your network. And I call it the flower. We put it into this little web where you could really simply in real time drag and drop the priority of the different devices, so you can make sure that your gaming devices are first, and everyone else is kind of a little bit closer to the back of the line. So that means if your housemate is watching Netflix, it's not going to affect your game when you're playing Counter-Strike or whatever you're playing, right? But that's one example of one setting, and you're going to have that powerful software combined with that powerful hardware, and that's really where that benefit's going to come for gamers out there that are really trying to make sure that they have the best setup possible. Because there's a lot of streamers out there, there's a lot of competitive gamers where they have to have that kind of setup for their source of income. Not saying that you have to be a professional, I guess, in esports industry to enjoy one, but it's really powerful stuff, and it's kind of up to you on how much you want to tinker with it. But if you think that your house is just well suited for, let's say, Orbi, or even a Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 router, and you don't really need to dig into the settings as much, then that's where you could start considering Nighthawk, start considering Orbi, something outside of our Nighthawk for gaming line. So that's kind of my long drawn out answer as to whether it's right for gamers or not, but that's my input.
I used to use it to cut back on my roommate's Netflix streaming. It was hogging some of the bandwidth, and he didn't have the password, so he didn't know what I was doing. And so I just went in there and I dialed him back a little bit, and it's perfect.
Boom. There you go. Take it from Alec.
Yep. You could be a little sneaky with it.
Of course, of course. But yeah, there's a lot of different uses for it, and again, at the end of the day, it's really powerful stuff, and it's up to you if you want to take advantage of all those features. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn. If there's any questions you got, on gaming or on pretty much anything Netgear, we'll be happy to answer all your questions here. But awesome. And this is just to kind of go out to the rest of the chat. If we helped you out earlier in the show and you're still here, please tell us how we did. Let us know if it helped and solved your issue, and if it didn't, you could drop in your follow-up. You got us for another 30 minutes. But yeah, feel free to keep dropping updates. I think we saw a couple follow-ups from Thomas Murphy, which I'll go into next. So we're caught up, which is great.
Angela, what are the filler questions for today? You
gotta questions.
Good
you gotta
content.
make Thomas wait, huh? I always wanted to ask this one because I feel like I think this was on the show where I wasn't hosting, but you were hosting. But I would love to know, what was it like when you guys first were on the internet? Like, what era was that? And what stage of the internet was that? Because I feel like we're all from different stages of the internet. Sure, right? So that's gonna be my.
It was painful. Question. It was called DSL. Very slow.
DSL, very slow.
Mine was like coolmathgames.com and like Club Penguin. All those Flash games when I was 7 or 8 years old, Those are the days. Open up Internet Explorer.
Yeah, I mean, dial-up days, you watch a picture load line by line until it loaded up.
Yep.
You're like, and then videos were like the size of a stamp on your screen. Like
Yep, and in 320 resolution or less.
Yeah.
3 frames a second.
Here, actually, let me. I'm gonna go ahead and link Christine out. I think one of our. We're talking about the availability of the CX80. Check out our live event. You should be able to see that comment floating in pretty soon from the Netgear YouTube account. Just to answer this question real quick. So, my first time on it. I'm from the era of like E-Bombs World and Funny Junk, where it was matured to the point that like AIM and I don't even think, like when I was really young, MySpace wasn't even out yet, but it was like the You Got Mail, E-Bombs World, just like a bunch of just like weird stuff on the internet, like it was low quality stuff, but for some reason people just kind of loved it, and like it was a lot of forums, a lot of old forums. There even before, how can I say this? Even before Club Penguin, there's like Have a Hotel. There were these little like it was chat rooms. It was chat rooms and forums. That's my view of the internet, and that's where that's my coming of age. So that's why I'm the way that I am.
The AIM emojis were the best emojis ever created. They're better than Apple's emojis. They're better than Google's emojis. They were the best. I love those.
It's the
yeah, but what did you do with all those AOL discs that came in the mail every week?
I gave them to my sister.
They made great toasters.
They did.
Toasters.
Yeah, you remember man, the CD-ROMs where you had to just like, man, you put a CD-ROM for everything. I don't even know why. Like this is like before you could just download the newest version of AIM. Oh man.
I remember when they came on floppies in the mail.
My thing is the sounds of AIM. It's the door slamming and opening, and the broop, broop. That's the sounds you can never get out of your head. I miss that kind of stuff.
Did you ever use ICQ before AIM?
Nah, I grew up with AIM. That's it. Everything else I was too young.
You know what I think is so funny is if you get like photos developed, even now, they'll still give you a disc.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you go to Walgreens, get like a roll of film developed, they'll still give you a disc.
I still do that. I actually need to pick up a roll of film, and I still ask for the disc.
Well, if you go to Photo Express, you can give them a USB. Pro tip for San Jose locals.
I don't know. I don't have an extra USB lying around, so I actually use I still use a CD.
I don't even have a CD drive on any of my computers anymore.
Mm-mm.
My
I do.
has one. Yeah, so I still have the CD drive. Yeah, I also want to shout out Thomas Murphy. He says he started with a 300 bit per second acoustic coupler modem.
Yeah.
Who doesn't remember those sounds?
Ooh, yeah, that sounds.
Yep.
Can we get Thomas to send us an email at netgearteam@netgear.com about the Orbi satellite, the outdoor satellite, so I can try to follow up with him. I'm still trying to get a hold of someone about that beta unit.
Yes, Christine, out in the sky in the control room. Yeah, if you're able to float out that netgearteam@netgear.com email, Darren, appreciate you reaching out for help on there. But yeah, we'll get you a little bit more information on that unit. So, Thomas, I know we were chatting for a little bit, but I want to address your question. Will existing Wi-Fi 6 routers be able to work under the upcoming Wi-Fi 6E standard? And better question is, okay, does existing Wi-Fi 6 routers, will they be able to take advantage of Wi-Fi 6E? So,
the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because Wi-Fi 6E uses 6 gigahertz band, not the 5. And currently, the Wi-Fi 6 routers support the 2.4 and 5. So most likely, the chips that they have in them are not going to support a 6 gigahertz band, because that requires a completely different frequency set for it. So for the 6E, when it does come out, and it's going to be a while before it really hits the market. 6 is just starting to hit the market now, mainstream. New routers will come out, new client devices will come out to support it.
Just for everyone out there who might be watching the show right now, who might not know much about Wi-Fi 6E, could we get a little introduction to Wi-Fi 6E and kind of what that means for NETGEAR and kind of what it means for kind of everyone else out there who's kind of curious about it?
Yeah, basically what it is similar to Wi-Fi 2, 3, 4, and 5 that we've gone through. Each one of them opens up a new band to be able to use to speed up your connections, as well as opening up, and basically it's like opening up a new lane on a highway to reduce some of the congestion. Before the 5 gigahertz band was open and everyone was working on the 2.4, let's say that's like having 4 lanes on your highway. And you start getting more and more traffic on those lanes, starts getting more congested, things start slowing down. So the best way to get around that is go to a new Wi-Fi standard, add one in, and that's when they added in the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So now you've opened up a whole another couple of lanes there that are faster. They're the commute lanes, so there will be less congestion on the highway. Over time, as we add more and more devices in, we get more congestion, so they've got to find ways to open it up more. With the Wi-Fi 6 that we have right now, that is basically trying to optimize the 5 gigahertz use that we're doing now, changing the ways the devices talk. But you can only do so much with that to speed the traffic up when the traffic just keeps getting heavier and heavier. So then Wi-Fi 6E comes out. It now opens up the 6 gigahertz band on top of supporting the 5 and the 2.4. So it's creating more lanes with faster traffic, so you can handle, more devices, faster speeds on the highway. And once 6E rolls out, sooner or later, that's all going to get congested, and then they'll have to come out with the next standard. And they just keep, expanding out, trying to get more lanes on the highway so you can handle more devices all at the same time. And at the higher frequencies, it means that the traffic's going to be able to go faster. So, 5 is faster than 2.4. The 6 will be faster than the 5.
That's a really good explanation, Michael. Thank you. So I guess kind of what we could get from that is we're imagining by 2025 we'll have what Wi-Fi 10, and everyone will have like 5 bands on their routers, right?
Yep. Well, probably not Wi-Fi 10. It takes them a while to come up with the new standards. Usually there's 4 to 6 years in between each one. With the 6E, that's the FCC allowing that 6 gigahertz band to start being used. And so they just need to change the chips that are inside the routers, allow it to pump out 6 gigahertz signal as well as the 5 and the 2.4. So it's not going to be a huge revolutionary step. It's just going to add more lanes with a faster speed in those lanes. When they come out with Wi-Fi 7, that'll be a whole new standard, and I'm guessing we'll probably see that in maybe 5 years.
Wow, you heard it here first. Awesome. No, it's pretty exciting stuff, and I think especially when we start faster internet, people who may used to have like a 2 megabit per second connection now could maybe get 20, and then now could maybe get 200. So one, make things more accessible for everyone, just kind of as humanity as a whole. But two, I think also there's another point there where you could increase the possibilities of new uses. I think we couldn't stream 4K YouTube 10 years ago. Imagine what we're going to be able to do 10 years from now. I think that's especially when you come into our Twitch streams, we talk a lot about cloud gaming and kind of what that means, and also where we might be able to kind of fit into that. So there's a lot of things that we're always I guess looking at, and I guess I can't tell you all the secrets that come out of the lab, but I think that as we increase the accessibility of fast internet, and then internet just becomes like just more of a utility, we're going to see some uses that I don't even think we could think of right now, and I think that's the exciting time that we're in.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, and to go off of the 6E question, I see that Dan also added an additional question on top of it. Wi-Fi 6E still have a low range, and yes, in fact, it'll probably have a lower range than the 5, because as your frequency goes up, the range goes down, especially when you're talking about going through objects, because it has to spend more time in that object as the frequency goes up. The only way to overcome that is if they can bump up the power on it to be able to sort of plow through the walls and get a farther range. But the FCC has a strict limit on the amount of power that can actually go out on your Wi-Fi signals. So yes, it's going to have it'll probably have the same or shorter range than you're currently seeing on your 5 gigahertz band.
Yeah, so, kind of, just to kind of reiterate, yeah, so, when I really kind of drill it down, especially when we, I talk to some folks that, might not know the difference between the 2.4 and the 5, it's like, usually what I recommend is that the 2.4, it's technically like an older band. You'll have more range, but less speed and a little bit more congestion. There's a lot more devices that are 2.4 compatible than 5 gigahertz compatible. So I tell them to put all their IoT and smart devices and kind of like, really anything that doesn't need that high bandwidth application usage. Things like my Echo Dot, my my smart lights, that's all my 2.4, but my 5 gigahertz, I'm running this stream wirelessly to a laptop that everything pretty much in my house is wireless actually. But anything that's running Netflix, anything that is pretty much gaming, anything that takes that high bandwidth application, I put it on the 5. So, just kind of thinking ahead, I wonder what I could start putting on the 6, for, when Wi-Fi 6E starts kind of rolling out, or even towards the next standards. Either way, we're still early on. Wi-Fi 6, that's the wave, and that we encourage you to check that out right now. But 6E, that'll come out a little bit later.
Yep. And if you want to blast from the past, go and find some 900 megahertz devices, like old wireless phones, and you'll find that they work great now because no one's using that frequency anymore. But back when 900 megahertz was the frequency to use, everything was conflicting because they were all the devices were trying to use the same band. Now no one uses it, so you can get like remote control planes, things like that use 900 megahertz, and you never have to worry about interference because nothing uses that frequency.
Wow, that's actually really cool. I used to play with a lot of RC stuff, and then sometimes it was actually getting really finicky. Or like, I don't know, yeah, even like with the phones, like, not so many people are on as many landlines, and, it's really interesting to kind of see how everything evolves, but then circles back. Yeah, again, you can only get that here when you're watching us on Tech Support Live, so you can't read that on the NETGEAR website. But awesome. I mean, Just a kind of reminder for anyone who's just jumping into the chat. This is Tech Support Live. If you guys have any questions, any issues going on where you need our help from NETGEAR, this is your time to drop a comment in. We're pretty much about to reach our last 15 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, anything hanging out, or kind of, coming from the beginning of the show, you're working on it and you got any updates, drop it in now and we'll be able to help you out from the rest of the show. Otherwise, we got to think of any filler questions. I don't know if you guys have any of your own that you could give to us. I asked my one internet question. I don't know if you guys have anything else here.
Angela, you're the filler.
Someone's got to have a question.
I know. I'm tapped out. What's up, Alec?
You're the filler question guy.
I come up with the filler questions all the time.
Yeah, where's your filler question?
All right. You're going to put me on the spot here. Or chat, if you have any questions for us, we'd be happy to help you out. I'm looking to the chat to help. But okay, here. I always go for the nostalgic ones, and then they always end up being internet related. Okay, here. But I want to... I think I've asked this, but let's talk about the future a little bit, because I think we're getting to some good conversation about Wi-Fi 6E and kind of what that means for everything else. What is the one thing that you think that will exist 10 years from now in terms of, let's say, technology, kind of wireless, let's say everyone has like crazy internet speeds 10 years from now. What do you think will be common that doesn't even exist yet today?
You know what I want, and I feel like I'm the least technically experienced person here, so maybe this already exists, but there's so much, what should I say, like cloud streaming services, so like Stadia, Steam Link, NVIDIA Shield, all these different things, and a lot of it's local. So I just set up this new setup in my room where I stream my gaming PC to my room via NVIDIA Shield technology, and I play on an Xbox controller. I think it'd be cool if there was like a dedicated frequency for that process. Like you mentioned, like 900 megahertz. I think it'd be cool if there was like a dedicated standard for those kind of streams, because I ended up having to use like a power line adapter to get that into my room without like bogging down our network. So that'd be kind of cool.
You want a separate band just for gaming in your own house?
Yes, I think the industry needs that.
Well, you can have a separate band just for gaming. It's called the Guest Network.
There you go. You got Douma OS. I mean, you can do that now. I'm talking about 10 years. 10 years is a long time.
No, I'm saying like a dedicated frequency, not just a band, you got like 5 gigahertz, 2.4. We need a dedicated streaming
gaming frequency.
Gaming frequency. I honestly, I was actually reading up on this I think a couple days ago, but people were talking about how VR has gotten to this. Because I keep hearing about it. I don't have what do we call it, like a Quest or any kind of VR system right now. But people are talking about Half-Life and the new Half-Life Alyx. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but there's a new game that's out, and they were talking about horror games on VR, and they were saying how it triggers this part of their brain where it's like if you play too much of it, there's this like psychological effect where everything that you could feel or touch is just really cool. Like things just like you pick up a bottle, or you could like pick up a thing of chalk and start writing. People love that, and their minds are just blown. So there's something that triggers something in your brain that really makes you feel immersed. But yeah, they were saying how, oh man, like when you have a really good VR system that you could play horror games like in front of a screen for probably like a few hours and like you'll be okay. But like people say they can't even last longer than like 30 minutes in a VR horror environment because they're fight or flight.
They're pikers.
Yeah, it's just apparently it's too draining.
You can be in it for hours. You just get more and more scared.
You got ditching yourself. You gotta start watching some more horror movies. You gotta haunted houses. Face your fears, skydive, bungee jump.
Oh man.
I think this is just some BuzzFeed article.
It was Reddit actually. But yeah, they.
What I love is friends of mine that have tried out VR. Like I've got the Oculus Rift, and when they're in any sort of a VR where they're looking over like cliffs or standing on the edge of a platform, and there's no way that you're going to fall off. You're locked into that area, but they get so freaked out just looking over the edge.
Oh man, see, it triggers something, right? They're like those like there's just little mini games where you're just walking on the tightrope or something, and people get really freaked out.
I remember I played. So Brett, he's been on the show before. He brought the Oculus Quest into the office, and I did this rock climbing, like this free soloing game. And I knew I was just standing on tile, but anytime I'd get close to the edge and look down, I'd get like that pit in my stomach of just like, I'm gonna die. Like, this is it.
Yes.
I love that. That.
In 10 years, I hope that we have a VR headset that weighs as much as just regular glasses and is untethered and has full 360-degree motion, and that would be great. Right now, there's still enough limitations. The headsets weigh a lot, so you can only play so long before you really start noticing it. So hopefully they'll beef that up a little bit, shrink everything down to a point where it's like just putting on glasses.
No, I 100% agree. That's why I got really excited about, when Google Glass was coming out. It's like, I think AR was that first step, and then VR was going to be that next step, but apparently we have a lot more steps to go in between. I did see a couple comments come in real quick. I think, I want to continue the talk after, if we have any more downtime in the end, but we're going to our last 10 minutes. So, Thousandaire FTC, I did see your comment come in. Support took you to this video. Yes, we will answer your questions here, and we're down to our last 10 minutes where we're going to help you out as much as we can. But the first question that we did get from DJ Markuson was, what's the oldest NETGEAR router that uses Douma OS? I'm going to just say XR500. I don't know if there's anything else.
You're right.
Yep.
That's it.
I hope I got it right.
You can talk about the R1 from NetDouma.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the R1. That's true.
Yeah, but that's not a NETGEAR one.
Yeah, no, that's not a NETGEAR router. That was
router. There you go. Trick.
And I may still have one of those in a cabinet at work. I don't think I actually got rid of it.
An R1.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
I thought those were just urban legends.
Urban legends. No, there was a real one. I looked at it before we ever partnered up with them to put it on our NETGEAR routers.
Ooh, man.
Cool.
Adam. I want to shout out one more from Ricky, just kind of going back to kind of our conversation. He is using 900 megahertz noise canceling headphones, and you're crystal clear. Yeah, so testament. Again, I didn't know
now
that.
Nothing's interfering with that signal.
It's awesome. But hey, Thousandaire, so it looks like you're trying to get help. I know we're starting to get down to it, but let's try to help you out as much as we can. So you say your Nighthawk RX200 Wi-Fi will not turn on, and you have reset it. Okay, so I'd like to help you out here because I do have the same units, but here's my question. So, one, was it working well, and then let's say on a certain day or something happened, it just essentially everything stopped connecting? Is it, one, all of your devices stopped connecting? Are you able to get any connection hardwired? And three, are you able to receive a connection, like an internet connection, if you plug in directly to your modem? I would like to see if this is, one, a router issue, or a client issue, or a modem issue.
Well, also, is any light on the router lighting up at all?
Perfect. Yeah.
And if you can actually log into the admin screens, go in and check to make sure that for some reason it doesn't have the Wi-Fi turned off, and even when he's resetting it, it's keeping the Wi-Fi turned off, just to be sure it's not just a software setting as opposed to a hardware problem.
Exactly. So yeah, please let us know if these additional details, and we'll be able to help you out as much as we possibly can. All right, I did see some. It was working fine,
Yep.
and then this morning I can only use hardwired connection, and all lights are on. Okay. You reset it twice. So my question is, when you reset it, we're talking about factory resets where you take a paper clip, you put it into the little button on the back of the router, hold it down for a few seconds, and then did you set it up with the same Wi-Fi name and password as you had before? And you did that twice, just to kind of confirm your troubleshooting steps so far. That's what I'm curious about.
Might be
and also,
overthinking it.
I was just going to say,
Oh,
Go on. Sorry. I was just saying, there's a Wi-Fi on and off physical button on the router. It could have got pressed by like a cat or someone picking up the router or around the router, so you might want to click that button back on. Could be the simplest thing.
That's true. Michael, did you have anything else there?
Oh, that was part of what I was going to say, is make sure that you didn't accidentally hit that button to manually turn off the Wi-Fi signal. And if that light is actually on, do any of your devices even see the SSIDs from the router, either the 2.4 or the 5?
Okay. So got a follow-up. It says went through admin, and it says it's all on, and the unit is displaying all Wi-Fi lights are on. I am now using the factory settings and log in. So I think right now you're hardwired into your. Yeah, let's help you out here. Where's the button? What does it look like? That's the question. I could. Let's see.
Gotta look
Angela,
it up
you have this router. You should know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to be able to show off like a product image or something here, actually. Can I pull something up on the?
Yeah, it'll be in the user manual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be in the user manual, so that button would be there. Okay, and then follow up on your question, Michael. It says none of his wireless connections display the router is even visible.
Yep. Yeah, if that button hasn't been turned off, if it actually is lit right now, and nothing is seeing any of the either of the SSIDs, then that means the router is no longer broadcasting. If he's tried the factory reset and that didn't fix it, the only other step before contacting NETGEAR and seeing about a possible RMA replacement is to download the latest firmware and manually reflash it, just to make sure there isn't some corruption in the firmware. But other than that, it sounds like the router's Wi-Fi is just not transmitting anymore. And that's usually a hardware issue if the button isn't pressed.
The button is on top in the very middle of the router. It's the black lines kind of going down the center of the unit, and there's this two little symbols towards the front of the router on the top, and the top symbol is the Wi-Fi on and off button.
Let's see if this works. Oh no, sorry guys. I thought I could do a little shortcut here. But I want to be able to kind of float you kind of a little bit of a visual of what that button might look like here. So I'm going to float one of the pages here. Man, I really was hoping that URL worked. But so I'm ready. I'm actually going here to our product page. So the button that we're looking at, would be one of these two buttons that are right, essentially in the sliver, right there.
Yeah.
All right. So you can kind of see here. This is what we're looking at. You'll see it in probably like a couple seconds. Make sure that that button is turned on. That was an error. It says, the WPS one. He says he hasn't clicked those, and he has no pets.
Yeah, one above the WPS. just click it and see if anything changes.
Yeah. Yep. So even if you haven't clicked it, I don't know, maybe something got bumped or something.
You better try.
Yep. It's always worth a shot. All right, let me flip it back to us. We are down to our last 3 minutes, and Melissa and Thousandaire, we want to help you as much as we possibly can. So let's see if we're up for this challenge. So Melissa, she has an RAX 35, 7 months, no problems, and then it wouldn't connect to the modem anymore. Okay, it's a little similar, I guess. But so this one doesn't connect to the modem, but it still lights up. Any thoughts of what to do to fix it?
When she says that it doesn't connect up to the modem anymore, is the light on the router for your WAN connection over to your modem, is that lit or is it off? If it's completely off, then you might want to change the cable from your router to your modem. That would be the first thing to test in case the cable happened to be going bad. Obviously, rebooting the router, that would be one thing to test. I'm assuming that's already been done. You could try the factory reset as well, but first check out the cable to make sure that it's not a cable problem, because that would be the simplest thing to replace.
Mm-hmm. Christine says there's a known issue with it, and reverting the firmware is a possible fix.
Yep. And I just got that ping as well. So Melissa, check out the advisory that we sent down below right in the chat. So it may be an issue with the latest firmware. So just kind of reiterate, the temporary fix for now is to roll back to the previous firmware until they release the updated firmware. So try rolling it back. I don't know if we also have another article on how to essentially downgrade your firmware, but if you're able to do so, that may be able to solve your issue. And Christine, I know you're in the sky. If there's anything else out there to advise Melissa, in terms of any articles, you could drop it in. But otherwise, we are down to our last minute. Thousandaire, what we last left off on is just to make sure, even if you haven't hit that WPS button before, give it a shot.
Yep.
Okay, now the button is flashing and won't do anything.
Actually, if the button is flashing, then he probably hit the WPS button and not the Wi-Fi button, because the Wi-Fi button is an on or off. The WPS button will flash because it's trying to connect up with a client device that has WPS on it.
Okay, so I think once the WPS, once it hasn't found a device, it should just resettle back and go back to solid. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah, it will time out. I think it's probably 20 or 30 seconds of flashing, and then it does have a timeout on it. It'll go back to solid after that.
Yeah.
If the Wi-Fi button above it isn't lit at all, that means the Wi-Fi radios are off. So that button above the WPS should be lit. Then make sure that your Wi-Fi radios are enabled.
Yeah, Thousandaire. So yeah, just make sure that WPS button, the one that's flashing, just let it time out and don't touch that one. But you want to tap the other button, which would be that Wi-Fi button.
Yeah.
So don't worry though, you didn't mess anything up. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with hanging out for a couple more minutes. I know we're a little bit over time. M-Dog already knows what's up. But I think even worst case, like let's say we're not able to work it on the show. Christine, I want to make sure I have your blessing, but we do have another email where you could reach out. We don't want to kind of end the show with any kind of loose strings that we didn't tie up. So we do have NETGEAR team at netgear.com, where we'll be able to help you out one-on-one with our community support team that are incredibly helpful. So thank you, Christine, and everyone on the show. Thousandaire, I'll give you a few more moments. Okay. He says 2.5 and 5 are still still solid. Push the correct button. Maybe a hardware issue. Okay. I think in this case, do you guys want to kind of turn it to NETGEAR team at netgear.com?
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
Yeah, or support goes directly to support for a support case on broken hardware.
Mm-hmm. All right. But yeah, no, appreciate you coming on the show and letting us know. So. We did float up the email, I think, a little bit earlier in the chat, but I'm just going to reiterate it again. And then Christine, she's also recommending a firmware fix. So Yes, a couple things. Reflash the firmware, but two, I know we do have to end the show. We're at the 2 p.m. mark. Gonna reiterate it one more time. NETGEAR team at netgear.com, and then tag hashtag stay connected into the subject line, and then we'll be able to know that you came from today's show. I know you did go through our traditional support line, but you know, we're happy to help you out one-on-one in that email below. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
I want to thank you guys again, and thank you to all, to Darren, Michael, Alec for helping us out, and helping everyone else in the chat. So we do these every Friday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. You have us for 2 hours for any recommendations, any you know, issues you may be having. We're happy to help you out live on the chat. And remember, virtual event series every Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We got weekly shows on YouTube twice a week, and also on twitch.tv/NightHarperGaming. We play every Monday to Thursday if you just want to hang out with us and just kind of have fun. Awesome. Last shout out from Thomas. Nice to see what Darren looks like. I always pictured him to look more like Alec. That's funny. All right, guys.
We both got beards, so you're pretty close. Beards and glasses.
Pretty close. Wow. All right, guys. Please like and subscribe. You'll get us to the front page of YouTube, and we'll be able to continue helping you guys out if you like the show. So, but otherwise, we'll see you guys next Friday. We hope to see you there.
Yep. And everyone have a great weekend.
All right. Everyone have a great weekend. Stay safe, and hope you enjoy it.
Take care.
All right. Later, guys.